Israil Madrimov, fueled by the fire of Bivol's sparring, has delivered a knockout message to Terence Crawford. Meanwhile, Antonio Tarver, a former world champion, thinks that for Crawford to defeat Madrimov in their next fight on August 3rd, he will need to rely on his technical skill.
Man, you got to take your hat off to Crawford for, stepping up, but also picking and choosing one of the toughest guys in the division. I think Crawford want to make a statement.
Tarver cautions Crawford against getting into a brawl with Madrimov because of his strong punching ability and Canelo Alvarez-like physique. He likens Madrimov's strength to that of Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. Crawford's 13-month absence and impending 37th birthday could cause him to lose stamina. Madrimov likes to stay back and deliver forceful blows from a distance. Although Tarver observes that Madrimov lacks hand speed, he is as fast as Golovkin, which might allow him to exert pressure on Crawford similarly to David Avanesyan. Even though Crawford was an older competitor, Avanesyan still gave him a lot of hits. Antonio Tarver praised Terence Crawford for selecting one of the division's toughest opponents, Israil Madrimov, to face the WBA junior middleweight champion on August 3rd. Tarver highlighted Madrimov's physical prowess, long arms, and unorthodox fighting style, which involves using both hands to wield power while switching between the left and right hands. Crawford moved up to 154 in an attempt to make a statement.
I mean, when you look at this guy's frame, it looks like he's just a few pounds from a Canelo build. You feel me? With his frame. So, but he's going to be a strong guy. His arms are long, from what I see on tape.
His Excellency fans believe that Turki Alalshik made a wise choice in matching Terence Crawford against David Madrimov. Crawford would have fought David Benavidez or David Morrell if he had decided to take on Canelo, but he now faces a more approachable but tough opponent. Renowned boxing analyst Tarver feels that Crawford's skill and adaptability will dictate the outcome of the fight. Therefore, he suggests playing a strong defense and avoiding unwarranted shots. Tarver views Crawford's choice to confront Madrimov as a calculated move.
And then his just the way he fights, it's not real rhythm there, but he just go left-handed, right-handed. He ambidextrous. He got power in both hands. I think one thing he has is power, but I believe Terence just has so many things in his bag. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's gonna have to fight off his talent. Yeah. Let his talent lead him. Don't go in there trying to bang with a banger. You know what I mean? So. As long as he can deploy a good defensive strategy, make sure he don't take no unnecessary shots, I think he can control him.
Madrimov is a strong long-range shooter and Crawford's opponent. Crawford is a dangerous opponent because of his size, slower speed, advanced age, and lack of activity lately. Should Crawford be unsuccessful, he will have to endure a protracted and taxing fight on August 3rd against a weary, rusty, depleted of weight, and scarred by an accident Errol Spence. Tarver thinks Crawford should be faster than Madrimov, and that he can carry out his plan with accuracy if he can find his timing and rhythm.
Because he's not that fast. He's not that quick. He's not that fast. He's, a little plodding almost. So Crawford should have the speed on him. And I think once he finds his rhythm and timing, I think Crawford will be able to do what he wants to do.
Madrimov is unknown to many boxing fans who have never seen him in person. Because his fights have been broadcast on ESPN, they have seen the 36-year-old Crawford numerous times over the course of his illustrious 16-year career. Joel Diaz, Israil Madrimov's trainer, thinks Terence Crawford will sense his power when he makes a shot on August 3rd when they square off in a Riyadh season match. Diaz stated, now in front of him, he has a younger fighter, strong fighter, and very disciplined. Crawford has turned reckless in his desire and need for the fight with Canelo Alvarez to get paid. Consequently, he lacks the time to gradually advance into the 154-pound class as a fighter would typically do after retiring like Crawford and spending a year out of the ring. Given that Crawford is the one who can make the Canelo fight happen in 2025, His Excellency Turki Alalshik wanted Crawford to fight Madrimov and wasn't going to say no. Crawford has no choice but to take the risks that a fighter his age who hasn't competed in the last 4 years wouldn't. He has to battle Madrimov to get the Canelo bag. Diaz further added, when he's in the ring, he's very complicated. You can watch a video of Israil and give yourself an opinion, but it's totally different when you're in the ring with him. When you're in the ring with him, it's very complicated. Madrimov is hard to predict because of the angles at which he throws his shots and how he attacks. Crawford has never fought anyone with his style before, even though he's faced Eastern European fighters. They weren't talented like Madrimov and didn't have his power. Diaz emphasized Madrimov. When he's in the ring, he's in great control. I've seen him in the ring spar against against Dmitry Bivol when he was getting ready for Canelo, I was amazed. This kid is 154 pounds, and he's sparring a 175-pounder, and he's doing great. I don't know if Bivol was going easy on him or not, but that sparring looked great. After exchanging jabs in the ring, Terence Crawford and Andre Ward finally sat down for a tete-a-tete. Bud revealed what he intended to do after retirement. He shared that he has many other interests to chase once his boxing journey finally comes to an end. That obviously aroused Ward's curiosity. He wanted to know whether there was any chance of him coming back, like so many other boxers do.
We know skills pay the bills, and come August 3rd, we're gonna be ready for everything that Israel brings to the table.
It's a fact, as Crawford himself put it, skills pay the bills. Let's dive into the highlights from the electrifying interview between Andre Ward and Terence Crawford. They discussed everything from career-defining moments to upcoming challenges. And speaking of challenges, the boxing world is buzzing about Crawford's next big fight against Israel Madrimov on August 3rd. What do the pros think? Can Crawford's skill set conquer this rising star? Stay tuned as we break it all down. In the interview, Crawford shared his thoughts on his upcoming fight against Israel Madrimov, saying, "We know he's got an extensive amateur background. He's a great fighter. He's got good movement. We never took him lightly. That's why we went to Vegas and did the pre-camp. That's why we checked off all the boxes in this camp, just to make sure we don't have any hiccups." It underscores Crawford's respect for his opponent and his meticulous preparation. It's clear that he isn't underestimating Madrimov's capabilities.
How did you land on this opponent, being that this is the first guy you're gonna face at 154?
Terence Crawford says WWBC WBO junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora was initially his target for his next fight, not WBA 154 LB champ Israel Madrimov. When asked why he chose to fight WBA junior middleweight champion Israel Madrimov for his next fight on August 3rd, Terence Crawford replied, "We wanted to go straight into a champion. We wanted to go into Sebastian Fundora, being that that's who initially we were going to try to fight. But he said he wasn't going to be able to fight this year, and we wanted the fight this year. So we had to go to the next best option, and that was Israel Madrimov." This statement highlights Crawford's ambition and readiness to face top-tier opponents. Initially aiming for a bout with Sebastian Fundora, Crawford's plans shifted when Fundora was unavailable. Determined to stay active and competitive, Crawford chose Madrimov as the next best option, showing his commitment to challenging himself and maintaining his momentum in the ring. Although Crawford says he's not mad at Fundora for changing his mind about fighting him, he seems slightly bitter about it because that was the guy he wanted. Madrimov is an excellent champion, but he's less well known in the US than Fundora. Crawford's fight against Madrimov on August 3rd will only have one title at stake, rather than two if he'd fought the towering Inferno on the night. Fundora is coming off a big upset of WBO junior middleweight champion Tim Tszyu on March 30th in Las Vegas, a clash that received a lot of attention. Crawford would have received far more publicity fighting the 6'6" Fundora than he is against Madrimov. Madrimov's main mouthpiece has been his promoter, Eddie Hearn, who has put a cursory effort into talking up his chances against Crawford. Hearn hasn't gone all out with the promotional side for Madrimov as he has for his big money fighter, Anthony Joshua. If Crawford were in the same boat as Fundora, and there was someone that he wasn't confident at beating, he would likely make the same move. An example of that is Crawford choosing not to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, even though that matchup would likely pay considerably more than his clash against Madrimov, said Terence. Fundora can't say I'm who he wanted to fight when he chose Spence and relinquished his WBO title. If you want to fight the best, then you're going to fight Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford beat the guy that you saying you want to beat. Crawford needs to recognize that fighters like Fundora or anyone make decisions based on what's good for them business-wise. They're not going to take a fight against an unproven fighter who has only been involved in one successful PPV event in his career. There's the risk of losing to Crawford and the fight not doing good numbers because he's not shown to be a big draw, except when he fought Spence. You can say that financial-wise, Errol Spence may bring in more money. He doesn't even know that for a fact, said Crawford about Fundora. He didn't have a meeting with us and say, "This is what I want." He didn't have a meeting with my handlers and say, "No, nothing." Fundora's management likely examined Crawford's past PPV and attendance numbers before he fought Spence and concluded that he was not worth the risk financially. Spence has been the more popular fighter throughout his career than Crawford, and he likely still remains a big draw, said Crawford. It was his managers. I don't know if it was his father. They was just like, "Nah, we ain't worried about Terence. We ain't fighting Terence. I just think it's politics." Politics play a big factor in boxing, and I think whoever is handling his Fundora career, we know it's business. Explaining why Fundora is going in the direction of fighting Spence next, rather than him. Fundora's management made the same decision that anyone would make in a similar situation if they were to pick the more proven commodity, Spence and Crawford, said Crawford. I'm not mad at him, and I'm not mad at Spence. I wish Spence much success in that fight. It's going to be a tough fight, and I hope he comes out on top. Terence says he's not mad, but he sure seems bitter about being passed over by Fundora. He should be happy that His Excellency Turki Alalshik has chosen him for this event rather than someone else. It's a winnable fight for Crawford. Crawford shared his experience with Turki Alalshik and the opportunity to be part of a major event hosted by His Excellency in America for the first time. Showing his gratitude, Terence stated that due to the Riyadh card and Saudi involvement in boxing, he is finally getting more fights, something that had been hindered by boxing politics in the past. Crawford shared his experience with Turki Alalshik, saying, "When he reached out, he wanted me to come to Saudi. I always had something to do, but he told me, 'You're my favorite fighter, and I want you to fight more often than what you've been fighting in the past.' I'm like, I've been wanting to fight more often, but politics has led me to being out of the ring longer than I really would have liked it to be. But it happens. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm here now. Hey, it was a good run." This highlights Crawford's gratitude for the opportunity and his struggle with the politics of boxing, which had limited his fight frequency in the past. Turki Alalshik's support has been instrumental in getting him back in the ring more regularly. Transitioning from his current career to what lies ahead, Crawford hinted at his possible retirement. He reflected on how he might choose to say goodbye to the sport he loves, stating, "Maybe I'll do it in the ring. Maybe I'll take my boxing shoes off and my gloves and my hand wraps and just sit in the middle of the ring. Not going to do it now." Furthermore, talking about his former partnership with Bob Arum's Top Rank, Terence Crawford revealed that despite being a world champion and one of the greatest fighters today, some promoters still criticize his fights for not generating enough hype.
All the promoters say, "Oh, well, Terence Crawford can't sell. Terence Crawford is bad for business. Terence Crawford is, Terence Crawford that." So much negativity. But when you look at my numbers compared to they fighters that they trying to push, it's night and day.
Yeah.
It's always been night and day.
Yet, Crawford remains satisfied with his performance, both inside and outside the ring. Reflecting on his split with Top Rank, Terence Crawford shared his thoughts on the resolution, saying, "I'm happy. I'm pretty sure Top Rank is happy that it's all over. We did what we had to do to settle it in court." Crawford also addressed the deeper issues behind the split. It wasn't about freedom. It was more so about respect. When you've got a big company like Top Rank that's been around for decades, they tend to be bullies, thinking they can do whatever they want because of their status and achievements. Fighters like myself, who aren't out there trying to make a big spectacle, simply want respect. When you stand up for yourself and are willing to go to battle with a big company, it shows you deserve respect, not just in the ring, but outside of it in business as well. I believe we accomplished that. This insight reveals Crawford's focus on maintaining respect and fairness in his professional relationships, emphasizing that his fight for respect was a key factor in his decision to part ways with Top Rank. Andre Ward also agreed with Crawford at this point and stated,
"Man, I'm proud of you, bro, because as a brother in the game, man, I struggle with, like, Top Rank aside, I'm just talking just in general, the narrative that was painted about you, that you couldn't sell. I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, man, okay, we know Omaha, but like, when I look at MSG, I'm seeing numbers. I see Vegas, I'm seeing numbers. The ratings, I'm seeing numbers. I'm like, what am I missing, right? When I see people talking about the type of person you are, I can take it, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing for you to take, when you see somebody, a loved one, it's different. And then when the lawsuits and stuff was filed, everybody has opinions. And just knowing what I know about you, I'm thinking like, this brother is not gonna file something if he don't feel strong about his position. To see you come out on the other side, bro, and to elevate the way you've elevated, like you've been a boss about your business, but you could tell it went to another level.
But now, let's move towards Crawford's current challenge. Madrimov is sparring with well-known experts to become a rival. Not far from the gym where Terence Crawford announced his presence as a force who would dominate 3 divisions over the next decade, Israel Madrimov prepared his first defeat for Crawford. Joel Diaz, Madrimov's veteran trainer, welcomed Crawford into his gym long ago for sparring sessions to help now Hall of Fame 2-division champion Timothy Bradley Jr. He said, "Everything has a beginning and an end." 1 month removed from the AUG, 3 Los Angeles main event of a stacked card constructed by Saudi Arabia's Turki Alalshik, Madrimov, 29, spoke to boxing scene following another intense training session in the 105-degree heat of the Coachella Valley. Israel Madrimov, through an interpreter, praised Crawford, saying, "He's a great fighter. All around, he has every tool." Madrimov acknowledges Crawford's impressive skill set, highlighting his respect for the champion's abilities. However, Madrimov is confident in his own position, stating, "But I feel like this is my division. I fought at a higher weight class in the amateurs, 165 55, compiling 330 bouts. And since I've turned pro at 154, every fight has been big. I had 6 final eliminators. What everyone's saying about my lacking experience, my 11 fights in the pros is not the same as everyone else. This is my division. He's moving up. I know he has all the skills, but it's my division, and it's my time. This reveals Madrimov's self-assuredness and belief that, despite Crawford's skill, he is ready to dominate in his own weight class, emphasizing his extensive amateur background and significant experience in the division. At 36, Crawford is coming off his most impressive triumph yet, a 9th-round TKO of then unbeaten 3-belt welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr., preceded by 3 other knockdowns. That's the Crawford that World Boxing Association junior middleweight title holder Madrimov is preparing for in Indio, savoring the opportunity to fulfill a destiny born from a rugged childhood in Uzbekistan. Madrimov became a world title holder March 8th in front of Alalshik in Saudi Arabia, scoring a 5th-round TKO of Magomed Kurbanov and setting up the bout against Crawford, who has been the undisputed champion at both welterweight and 140 pounds. Their bout tops Alalshik's debut Riyadh season-promoted U.S. card, which includes 140-pound champion Isaac Pitbull Cruz, former heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz, rising heavyweight contender Jared Anderson, unbeaten David Morrell in his 175-pound debut, and Olympic champion Andy Cruz of Cuba. Madrimov stated, "I'm very excited, very happy, and pleased about the way things are playing out." His excitement reflects the significance of the opportunity ahead and his satisfaction with how his career is progressing. Moreover, Madrimov said, "It's always been my dream to fight such a big pound-for-pound name. For me, he's one in the world. It's a big honor, a great opportunity to change my life, my family's life. In the history of boxing, nothing like this card has ever been done." This underscores Madrimov's deep respect for Crawford and the magnitude of the fight, highlighting how much this bout means to him personally and professionally. The immense stage will allow Madrimov to fully display his gifts. He too has two-handed power. He's younger and naturally bigger, and he has yearned for this day as Crawford arrives at his 19th consecutive world title fight. Diaz acknowledged Crawford's excellence. "We know Crawford is great," he continued. "He has great boxing ability. He's patient, has great reflexes. But time goes by. He's 36. He doesn't fight too often. I just have a good feeling Israel can pull it off." Diaz's comments highlight his respect for Crawford's skill set and his belief in the impact of age and inactivity. He reflects on Crawford's experience while expressing optimism about Madrimov's chances. Diaz further emphasized the significance of the fight, saying, "I know who we're facing. I followed Terence Crawford's career for years, and it will be an honor sharing the ring with him. If we come out with that win, it's a big one." This shows Diaz's recognition of the prestige of the bout and the potential impact of a victory over such a renowned opponent. Suppose Diaz and others want to sound alarms about Crawford's age, size, or the distractions and pressures he might feel about clinching a looming super fight against Saul Canelo Alvarez. In that case, Madrimov won't be among that group. He sees Crawford at the peak of his career. Israel Madrimov addressed perceptions of Crawford's age and lifestyle, saying, "It's not something I look at because he's an athlete. He's not looked at as a guy who's smoking, drinking, partying." Madrimov underscores his view that Crawford's professionalism and discipline mitigate concerns about age-related decline. He further commented, "I know for sure once I beat him, people will say he turned old, but you're only as good as your last fight, and he showed the best fight of his career in his last performance. So I'm expecting the best Terence Crawford who can possibly step in the ring, comfortable and confident. I feel like we're both in our best mode, and the best man in the ring will win." Madrimov's statement highlights his respect for Crawford's recent performances and acknowledges that Crawford will be at his best. He emphasizes that despite the age factor, the fight will come down to who performs better on the night, with both fighters being at their peak. While Crawford has proven he can verbally undress his foes and intimidate like few others, he and Madrimov developed a respectful relationship upon meeting at their New York news conference to announce the card. Israel Madrimov spoke about his mental preparation and respect for Crawford, stating, "I think he knows our mentality, and he knows there's no way he can mess with me mentally." Madrimov highlights his strong mental focus and readiness for the fight, noting that Crawford understands this aspect of his approach. He continued, "We, as Uzbeks, were raised in a certain way. I don't trash talk. I don't disrespect anyone. I only let my fists do the talking in the ring. I'm not that person, and Terence knows that." This reflects Madrimov's cultural values and his preference for letting his performance speak for itself rather than engaging in verbal conflicts. Madrimov also mentioned, "He's a very smart person. He knows he won't waste his energy trying to get under my skin because he knows I'm not going to respond to it. We've actually become friends. We've spent a lot of time together, filming all the promos. He's a respectful, good guy and one of my favorite fighters because he's a good, humble champion. The best, in my opinion." This statement captures Madrimov's journey from admiring Crawford to preparing to face him as a rival, underlining the personal and professional significance of their bout. Of course, Madrimov fully knows how the masses expect this movie to end on Og. 3. Alalshik's ambition to stage a high-profile bout between Alvarez and Crawford hinges hinges on Crawford's success against Madrimov. Diaz addressed this, stating, "The boxing business needs to do that. They can plan ahead however they want. We're not thinking of their plans. We're thinking of our plans. I don't care what their plans are. Whatever plan they have, it might not happen." This emphasizes that Diaz and Madrimov are focused on their immediate goals rather than being influenced by potential future matchups. Reflecting on past experiences, Madrimov recalled a time 2 years ago when he was in the same Indio ring where he trains now. He was with Dmitry Bivol, who, despite being underestimated, went on to defeat Alvarez. Madrimov noted, "When people are talking loud about things in the future, those things are in the future. It's the present time right now, and we have a fight scheduled." Madrimov added, "There was also a lot of talk about who Canelo would fight once he beat Bivol. When I was here training with Bivol every single day, getting him ready, we knew how the Canelo fight was going to happen. People the whole world were talking about mega fights and who they'd fight next, but it was confusing a little bit because we knew the truth." His comments underscore his focus on the present challenge rather than getting distracted by future speculations. Madrimov concluded, "My goal isn't this fight, and then we'll see where I qualify after this fight." This highlights his commitment to the upcoming bout and his determination to address future opportunities only after this fight is settled. As we've seen, both Terence Crawford and Israil Madrimov bring a wealth of experience, skill, and respect to their upcoming bout. Crawford's detailed preparation and strategic mindset show he's not underestimating Madrimov, while Madrimov's confidence and focus reveal his readiness to seize this opportunity to define his legacy. With the stage set and both fighters fully prepared, the showdown on August 3rd promises to be a clash of titans. Who do you think will come out on top in this battle of skill and determination? Terence Crawford's elite experience or Israil Madrimov's youthful ambition? Let us know your thoughts.